Alright guys, Touchgober here, back again today. Hope you're all enjoying your Sunday so far. Today I want to talk about a couple of roster changes that have been pretty much confirmed. One of them has been fully confirmed, one of them is still kind of in the rumour stages right now over the last couple of days or so. Will this make a huge difference to the London Royal Ravens and the New York Subliners going forwards? These teams have not had too much success so far this season. They've been on the cusp of having some decent results, or at least London have. New York Subliners have showed very little promise, to be honest. They've won a couple of maps here and there, but really, right now, a lot of people consider them the worst team in the entire league after they subbed in Happy for Zero, and Zero right now sitting on the bench twiddling his thumbs, not exactly sure what he's going to do. Of course, all of this we've got to talk about in the context of this online league that we're going to be having for the rest of the season. Not exactly sure right now how that's going to play itself out. Of course, I'll keep you guys updated whenever we hear some news on that. So like if you guys enjoy, subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. Let's hop right into things here then. So first of all, just to continue with this whole global pandemic situation, 6th Gear Brazil, which I imagine is a team that's been playing in some of the amateur stuff, they confirmed that they're going to be returning back to Brazil from, I'm pretty sure that they've been locked down in the US, or not necessarily locked down, but they've been playing in the US, they're going to be returning to Brazil. So, you know, once again, a difficult situation to happen here. International Call of Duty is something that I really love to try and promote, like South African teams, Brazilian teams, when they get their opportunities. However, this is just throwing a spanner in the works, let's say, of pretty much everything. Also, I saw this yesterday from King Goodnight on Twitter. I'm not sure exactly how you pronounce it, but this was noticed here. So I'm pretty sure this line didn't used to exist, but when you're setting up bots, set the number of bots in a match. Dedicated server use will be disabled if bots are used, implying that dedicated servers may well be coming to something or other here, which is pretty cool to see. Hopefully this is something that goes in. I'm not even sure whether dedicated use are used or not, because sometimes in Black Ops 4 I feel like they were being used, and quite often people say they were being used quite a lot, but this almost seems like private match dedicated servers, which is something that we wouldn't expect to be the case. But if that is the case, that's really, really cool indeed. So something to keep an eye on. And let's hop right into the changes here then. So thanks to Hot Take Extraordinaire for pointing this out to me on Twitter. Casey Panda, of course the Seattle team, scrimming against New York, and it looks like Mack is playing on JP's account in place of Happy. So JP Krez, the analyst guy over there, he's been working with MLG for a long time. You got Rev and you got JP over at the New York Subliners doing that kind of work. So Mack is joining the team. This is a player who I'm sure a lot of you guys aren't familiar with. Neither was I, really. I even thought he was like an assault rifle player in the last video. A couple of you guys corrected me, so thanks for that, because unfortunately this is the situation where we don't have streams of these amateur tournaments, because the only information I think I was going off was like one Periscope match I watched them play, probably on like Azir Cave or something, and he was using an assault rifle. But apart from that, I haven't seen him like play much, because the tournaments don't get streamed, right? So how am I meant to see too much action out of him? Whatever. And see who's really good. But the rumor has it, this guy's a really, really talented player. I think people were saying that at that Minnesota opening weekend, people said that Mack was just dominating, like he was absolutely cruising through people. One of the most impressive players on that hybrid black squad that we'll look at in a second here. I think the two other guys, maybe Vivid and Sparta, were on that team. I'm not exactly sure if all of them were, but whatever. They, of course, have now been picked up by the Los Angeles Grillers. Let's actually just have a look at that in a second here then. So the launch weekend, again, Vivid and Sparta weren't on this team, so ignore me, they're on a different one. But regardless, I think to my knowledge, Mack was considered the standout on this team in the opening weekend. So these are his results throughout his career pretty much. This is just all of the tournaments he's played online and offline. So he's played a couple of LANs back in the World War II days, the Black Ops 4 days, just some locals, but playing with some pretty well-known amateur players. Like I'm sure you guys will know, Pawns, Exceed, of course, who was on that team with Tommy and Chino at the end of last season, Zyra, like Sibilance, and, definitely some other players that you'll know, like Pentagram. He even played with RCTO in this online tournament, so definitely is known within the community, playing of course with Ferro very recently in some of these 2K tournaments, but now he's been picked up onto this New York Subliners team. A lot of people think this is a pretty damn good move, and I'm kind of happy to see it. Like, I don't know much about this player, but I just know he's been touted to be a pretty damn solid talent, and coming into New York, to me, it makes sense. Let's have a look at their stats then here. So this is really the thing you've got to consider. Let's just make sure you can all see this on screen. These are the stats so far this season, and it really shows how New York haven't had the best time of things. Like, their best KD on their entire team is a 1.00 from attach. Accuracy is negative. Happy obviously only played one event, but he didn't have the best time of things, right? Temp is still negative, 0, 0.88, and Zoom with a 0.94. So nothing was going right for this team, and they bring in Mack now. So the situation was, I imagine, that they didn't really feel confident playing with 0, and they didn't really like his addition in the team and whatever. he talked on Spitfire that he really felt he was an outsider on the squad, and he kind of felt like he knew he was going to be the one to be dropped if something started going wrong. And we know that accuracy, despite not necessarily being the best assault rifle in the league, he has great connections, he's great friends with these guys. He's not going to be someone that's getting dropped from the squad anytime soon, I imagine. Then again, it did happen on the Splice team last season, so maybe that's a possibility, but I think maybe the guys on this team, he maybe designed it in a sense so they're super friendly and super friendly like with each other. So that's a very unlikely circumstance. So Zero, of course, comes out the team. Where he will go next, who knows? Of course, there's been potential links with Seattle and other teams, but nothing's come to fruition yet. And of course, with the online stuff coming into the situation, who knows exactly what's going to be happening here, because do they even need Zero if it's an online league? As I talked about yesterday, maybe they just think, oh, you know, we can put whatever team in there. They might win some days, they might lose some days because of the randomness of online. I don't think that's a good attitude to take, but it might be some attitude that some people take. So they bring Happy into the team before that, before the Los Angeles event. It doesn't, or maybe it was the Atlanta event. Who knows? It doesn't go well for them regardless. They've a really atrocious weekend, to be honest. And yeah, they lose every series they play. Happy doesn't have the best KD. No one's really surprised here, but I imagine this team felt like the chemistry was better or something with Happy. So clearly, what their move is thinking that, okay, we tried Zero, didn't work. Tried Happy, didn't work. Let's just try someone else. And I'm sure this core 4 of accuracy, attached, temp, and Zuma will spring back into action. Personally, I don't think that's the case. Are these guys going to become a best team in the game anytime soon? I don't really think so. I think that there's something about like Temp's nature within the team, that whatever team he's on, even though in theory it could be good, it just doesn't seem to work. And right now he isn't even exactly performing at a very high level, so you've got that to consider as well. So probably another topic I can go into, because Temp is a player that's been touted, of course, has been super good, and he's shown it over his career in some aspects in terms of individual skill. But has he ever won a championship? No, and there's probably a reason for that, despite having a big team around him right here. Doug Sense Martin, of course, sitting on the bench thinking like, damn, I'm never going to get an opportunity here, am I? Probably partially because my dad did all that mad stuff on Instagram a while ago. But if Happy's coming out and you're not giving Doug the chance now, Doug's never getting the chance, right? Which is unfortunate. I don't necessarily think New York are making the wrong decision by not giving Doug the chance. He's not exactly the most talented player. I think maybe Mack is probably more talented, but you know, it's just unfortunate that it was Happy that came in, not Doug, and at least Doug didn't even get his chance for that one event when Happy was never going to do anything anyway. And Doug at least does play for the betterment of the team. And what Zero was saying on the squad was that they have no one that plays selfless. Like, all their players are just like super selfish and play for kills. They didn't have anyone that was willing to just fly out first and bait for the team kind of thing. And that's a kind of player that Doug is, right? So if anything, he actually could have been a decent pickup. But let's move on from this team to the London change. So I'd be intrigued to hear your thoughts on that one down in the comment section below. Do you think Mack is the move? Is that team going to make them top tier? I don't think so by any means. I think they might be a little bit better, but it's online based, of course, so maybe Mack even could be a better pickup. And that's what I wanted to talk about here really with Nastie. Like, guys like Mack, guys like Nastie, they're played on a LAN environment, but they haven't played in a LAN environment alongside the best teams in the game on, you know, on big stage in front of a crowd. That's where these guys can often fall off. That's what I was going to go for yesterday, really was my angle that, look, these younger guys are probably going to be good on LAN eventually, but they're better online right now due to they have less experience on LAN, right? And you saw that with the Los Angeles Guerrillas team, Vivid and Spark come into the main squad. They really have a tough series against OpTic Gaming because they're playing on the main stage for the first time. Definitely understandable, even though they've played other LANs and stuff, but on side stages where it's less important. So Nastie comes into the starting squad. In my opinion, in terms of roles, this makes a lot of sense, and it's kind of disappointing to see that Rated is going to be out of the team, but we'll look into this in just 1 second here, because, look, this is a great change in my opinion. I think it actually could do a really good job to improve the team. Like, people have been talking about this Nastie guy for a couple of years now, since he's come into the professional scene, being a really talented player. I think some people were saying, look, next Dylan Codd, this kind of individual, right? Dylan hasn't been so great this season, but we'll have to see how it goes in the online league. It's unfortunate we don't get to see it on LAN, but I think this team can have a real turnaround now, because they're, let me definitely zoom into this one. These are the results this guy's had so far in his career. So Black Ops 4, like London Open, Anaheim Open, you know, playing with some pretty well-known teams. He was on this Celtic FC team as well. Won the amateur finals with the boys back in the Black Ops 4 days as well. Just won this Paris Open with Team War and was playing on Train Hard the early part of the season, which is a pretty damn good squad as well. So definitely a lot of people consider him a very talented player. coming into this London team is a very interesting change. Just wanted to compare him real quick to Rated results, of course, because you see this from Nastie, you're like, okay, well, he hasn't really done too much. Rated, of course, has been around the scene forever. You know, even played some Black Ops 2 tournaments that I didn't include here, but Advanced Warfare won a couple of locals. Of course, Black Ops 3, second at the Call of Duty World League Championship, second at ESWC 2016 to OpTic Gaming, the Dynasty team at the time. Then the Red Reserve team throughout, well, part of Infinite Warfare and World War II. You know, coming super close on this Elevate team at times to being a decent team, but not really quite getting there. World War II, of course, the best team in the game for sure, not to win a championship that season. And then in Black Ops 4 on the Units team, didn't really do too much, but been a player that's been around for a very, very long time. I do think he's a very, very respectable player for sure. But, of course, this season, the way the meta's looking right now, Rated just doesn't make sense to be in the team. Because you've got Dylan and Jerd, who are your SMG fast-paced duo. You've got Wuskin, who's your absolutely dominant main assault rifle right now. You just don't need Rated on the team, because how do you make, you know, what are you going to use? Making Rated use an SMG, like use an MP5? That's just not going to work out right. Like, Rated to main AR, the way they built this team was to have 2 ARs, 3 SMGs, as was kind of expected for the meta to be this season. Or, you know, 2-1-2 or whatever, maybe some sort of flex gun would come into the meta. Of course, you're not going to get rid of Scraps, one of your best players, keep the twins together, and Dylan and Jed are the fast-paced SMGs that can potentially be those guys that can compete. So, if there's any change to make, of course, these are the statistics here. Rated's got to be the guy to go, really, just in terms of roles. Rated out Nastie in does make sense, and it kind of makes me pretty excited for the prospects of this team, because you're going to have a really fast-paced team now. People have talked about with Rated's teams for a while, especially in World War II, that they played kind of pretty slow. And that makes sense, and that was a style that worked for sure in that game and has done in other games as well. However, in this game, in a 4 MP5 meta on the majority of the maps, apart from Azir Cave, maybe this team now will just straight up ban Azir Cave whenever they happen to potentially be playing it against another team, because they've gone SMG focused, which I think makes sense. Because if you look at the teams that right now that are the best in the game, they have really fast paced, really dominant SMG players. They also have good other parts of the team as well. But having a really, really great assault rifle in Wuskin, kind of like what you have over at Seattle. Like, you look at that Seattle team, you've got Octane just dominating things with the assault rifle, but then the rest of the guys haven't really been able to step up to that level, because some of them aren't really like pure, like clean cut, fast-paced SMGs, because you've got Apathy on that team, you've got Pandy, you've got Karma, you've got Slacked, right? Apathy's really the guy who, that fast-paced SMG that's going to be up in your face. The rest of those players have done different roles in the past. They're not in a great circumstance to do that. However, this London team is going to be built, in my opinion, on a better foundation. You've got Dylan probably first in, or Jerd first in, or whoever. You know, probably Jerd first in, then Dylan just behind, and Nastie not too far behind that. And then you've got Scraps, you know, as the 4th man in, and then Wuskin holding down the line from the back. Like, that's a really exciting prospect to me. I think in terms of pacing, this team will make a lot more sense now, and I think this definitely is a valid change. If the meta changes throughout the season, maybe the MP5 gets worse, or whatever change they decide to make, if they do decide to make one, kind of doubtful to me, but I don't think Rated's going to, I think he's pretty much going to be sitting on the bench unless a meta change comes in, and if Nastie doesn't end up performing so well, I can't imagine Rated back in the squad is going to rejuvenate the team. I think they might just look for other options, but personally I'm quite excited about this one, quite happy to make a change, because I don't think this team as it was right now is going to be championship contending, so pretty happy to see it. But of course, what do we even say about championships when everything's online anyway? Like, if you guys enjoyed, subscribe if you're new. As always, I'll leave all the relevant links down in the description box below. Thanks for watching. I will see you next time.